study,
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
the best of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Membership means more with American Express Business Gold. Earn 4 times membership rewards points in your top 2 eligible spending categories every month, including eligible U.S. advertising purchases and select media, and U.S. purchases at restaurants, including takeout and delivery. What are you waiting for? Get the card that flexes with your spending every month. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
It all started here in New York, 2000. I was done with WNEW. Didn't go well. Started with Scott Kaplan, ended with Craig Carton. And I was making my way over to one of these tents at the Rockefeller Center. I don't know. It was the World Series. It was the Mets versus the Yankees, that Subway Series. And I met a guy named Mark Chernoff, and a terrific guy. And a few other people. I think I met Lee Davis that day, maybe Connie Fitzgerald. I don't know. But that's where my whole WFAN interaction started. Then I had some lunch with Steve Cohen. So long story short, when I was done with WNEW and about to move back to Florida and basically scrap my radio career, I was told by Cohen that WFAN wanted to give me a chance. Mark Chernoff. And he was the guy that made that decision. And here we are, 26 years later. I'm headed to the Hall of Fame. And he is certainly one of, if not the most, important people in what has been quite the journey. Quite the journey. So here he is. Everybody in Widow knows him. He's a legend. That word legend, we throw it around all the time, but he is legitimately a legend, the great Mark Chernoff. Tony, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Sid. You are absolutely the comeback kid.
I love that. I do love that. Because Cherny, I remember like yesterday being on the George Washington Bridge, heading from Tenafly to Astoria with Danielle to beg you to keep me at work. And you did the best you can. I never blamed you. You did the best you can. Every time I was fired from any job, anywhere, and there were a lot between New York and Florida, I'm accountable for all of it. It broke your heart. I know it did. You didn't want to have to do it. You were there for those days.
The lowest point was clearly the day you missed the Giants pregame show at what was then called Giants Stadium, and I saw your dad in the parking lot who was waiting for you to host the pregame show. And I said, "Where's Sid?" And I remember he put his hands over his face and said, "Oh." And where you were was down in Atlantic City.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, you had an agent, Mark Lebselter, and I did see Mark, and you guys were supposed to come back together, and he just looked at me and said, Sid didn't make it back.
No. And you did warn me.
Boy.
You warned me not to go.
I did. I said, don't go. I said, nothing good is going to come out of this. Yep. If somebody owes you money, let them pay you. Let them give you a check. Let them
You're
give
right.
you cash.
You're
but
right.
do not go to Atlantic City.
You were right. So was Danielle. And, my dad, this Thursday, July 1st, will be 6 years to the day that we lost Harvey. He loved you, by the way. I know you were very nice.
Your dad. What a great guy he was. He was funny, too.
He was. Thank you. So he's not here to see this now, but I'm curious. When you met me and saw me outside of that tent in Rockefeller Center, at the time I was really doing the only sports show in the mornings because you had the great Imus and me and Scott were doing our silly little radio show. What was it that said to you, let me give this guy a chance?
And maybe it was because you were wearing a Rangers jersey. Listen, I knew you were on NEW and it was part of the company, and I knew you were talented, and I knew you were funny, and you were a little bit off-center, which is, I said, okay, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. And I said, you definitely deserved a chance. And Steve Cohen was a big fan of yours. And said, yes, I think he's talented. I think he's good. I listened to some of your stuff, and I talked to you, and I said, it's definitely worth giving you a shot. And your on-air work never disappointed. Never disappointed. It was just, your personal stuff at the time, a lot. And as you say, you were to blame for your own stuff, and I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
But you were able to come back from all of that horrible stuff. You straightened things out, and now look at your New York State Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
I know, it's pretty amazing.
Sid. What an honor. I mean, that's fabulous. The way, as I say, you are absolutely the comeback kid.
Are you going to make me cry, Chernoff? Mark Chernoff here, the great Mark Chernoff. And are you on that Hall of Fame? Because if you're not, that's ridiculous.
Yes, I got in a few years ago.
Okay.
Maybe they'll put our plaques near each other.
Yeah, they should. They really should. You're the guy that said, let's give this guy a chance. So you've been doing this a long time, and you've been around the old-time greats, great stories from Howard Stern. We're not going to share them now, but a couple of great stories. And obviously, Imus and Mike and the Mad Dog and other greats at WFAN and other disc jockeys, too, that played music along the way that you're still friendly with. And what does it take, Mark Chernoff, in your opinion, what does it take to turn somebody from a good broadcaster to somebody who one day, I'm not saying I am, I'm not that arrogant, but one day some will consider one of the all-time greats?
It is hard to say, but obviously it's talent and desire. And if you have the talent and you have the desire, and look, I know it's tougher in the radio world than it's ever been. I see one of the companies, iHeart, has been cutting people left and right. And it's sad for me to see all of this stuff going on. That I worry about AI and I worry about companies downsizing. But if you have talent and you have the desire, that's your best shot at becoming a success. It's hard to say what the specifics are, but in the sports world, my good buddy Eric Spitz always said, if you have talent, you've always got a shot. And if you have an understanding in sports, if you have an opinion and you're entertaining, those are the kinds of things that will, push you ahead. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. If you're paired with somebody, if you're a sports talk show host, you got to hope you got the right partner. Look at Mike and Chris.
Yep.
Each one of them is talented and have had hugely successful careers, but will anything ever be as good as the Mike and the Mad Dog together?
No.
Again, this is not to diminish their talent in any way, because both as individuals are extremely talented, but that was one-of-a-kind radio show. Mark Mason put those guys together. They partnered for 19 years, and it was really some of the most amazing radio. They went through personal times where they did not like each other, to say the least, but they muddled through that stuff. There were ups and downs personally for them, but as a team on the air, it was magic. And Sid, when you and Joe Beningo were together, that was great radio.
It's funny. He was on early this morning, and I talked about that. And thank you for saying that, because we was very good radio. We had a really good time, and even before him, of course, it was me and Jody Mack. But Beningo and I thought could have been special. I screwed that up, but we could have been special. But Mike and the Mad Dog, the greatest of all time, there's no question. You talk about Mark Mason finding Mike and the Mad Dog. You found Boomer and Craig. And I think when you talk about the next generation of WFAN, past what I thought were the glory days, I still think that. I miss Mike and the Mad Dog, Joe and Sid, Steve Summers. You're not going to beat that station. Not now, not ever. But you did find that next great morning show. And Craig was also a Hall of Famer, has turned out to be very special. So that one goes into your holster.
He has. And, putting Boomer with Greg Gennady turned out to be a terrific pairing as well.
Yep.
And they're doing good things on the radio. And by the way, hi Lou Rufino. I just wanted to say hi to you while
one of my favorite people of all time is Mark Chernoff.
And he's just so you know, he says that. Here's the real test, Tony. He says that when you're not on the phone.
Oh, okay.
I've never.
No, he loves Mark. You. Listen, I don't know anybody that didn't like Cherny, except for Mike. Sometimes.
Well, Mike could be like that with everybody. Yeah.
No, Mike loves him. Everybody loves you. Because you gave everybody a fair chance,
Well, and you're nice to say that. Sid.
No, it's true. What do you miss the most when you look back at your career, working with these all-time greats, finding talent, working with immense talent? What do you miss the most on a daily basis?
Well, it was just the idea of being around all these talented people. I enjoyed this, and I still do music shows. I think you know that.
Yep.
And I like doing it, and I have fun doing that. But just the talent I've been associated with has just always been amazing to me. And to be around, all these great legends of radio, whether it had been at NEW, whether it had been at K-Rock, whether it had been at FAN. I mean, for me, it's like I can't believe I'm in the same world as all of these talented people. And even if it's been in a position where, let's say, I'm the boss, I've always felt like, good people, talented people, they really in a lot of ways know how to manage themselves. So, yes, I could look at myself as a director, but it was always, what can I do to be helpful to you to continue your success? You think I was going to tell Howard Stern how to do radio? You think I was going to tell Don Imus how to do radio? No way.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
There to support
right, but here's the thing with you that we have about a minute to go that made you special. You treated all of us the same. Now, not everybody did. I'm going to be honest. Program directors did not do that. Sales managers, station owners. You found a way to at least make the midday show feel every bit as important as the other shows, even though Eddie Scazzeri wrote on the wall the number 2 with a fiddle.
You know what? I always felt like, it's like my kids, everybody was my kids. And, you got to be nice to everybody. And I always wanted to treat people the way I wanted to be treated. Sid, I always said to people, if you have a family event, you take care of that. Everything is, with your family is first and foremost. You can get, whether it's a support staff, whether it's on the air, do what's important, spend the time with your family, you'll get your work done. Figure out a way to do it, but your family always comes first, and I still feel like that to this day.
You're a special guy. You, Sally, your sons, your grandchildren, the whole Chernoff family. I can't thank you enough. I really can't for the opportunity that you gave me 26 years ago that has now translated into this. And I've always loved you. And, whether it's a birthday or anniversary, one of the first texts I always get, still, I'm long gone. Still, you too, Lou, is from Mark Chernoff. So we all love you. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you for coming on today. And thank you for the opportunity. We love you. Thanks.
Mazel tov, comeback kid.
Thank you. I'm going to go with that from now on. I'm going to use that. Thank you, Cherny. I'm going to use that. That's my new moniker, the comeback kid. I like it. You like it, Lou?
Of course I do.
Chernoff, that's it. The comeback kid.
Leave it to Mark to come up with.
He is something else.
He was fair to everybody.
He really was.
And that's why all of the crazy talent loved him.
All of them.
Because they would sit with Mark. And he did exactly what he did. He just guided.
Yeah.
Said, maybe you should try this, maybe. But he never tried to be a boss.
No, never. And he was so even-keeled.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
All of the lunacy.
Yeah. There was a lot of lunatics in that place, and he was even-keeled.
My favorite story is still after he came back from the David Lee Roth thing.
Oh.
He was trying to fix it.
Yeah.
I'll always remember he came back. He came into the lobby.
Yeah.
And during our show, and I said, Mark, how's it going? Oh, he's an idiot. He's not listening to a thing. Forget it. I hope it's going to fail, and I'm glad.
Well, it did. He replaced Howard Stern at K-Rock.
I cried laughing. It was so funny.
It's funny.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?